Happy Sunday, everybody, from Big Fish and Little Fish and Craig Thompson. After what feels like the longest winter in the history of the world, we return to grass track racing at Methven today.
Isn't it wonderful, Michael? I actually missed it. I mean, it's for me. It's harder to find a winner on the grass. There's a lot more variables when you're backing grass track racing, but what you tend to do is you get some nice prices, and if you can do the form, you can be rewarded. And Methven's always been a really good track, Michael, for horses that can, put it this way, they can run very good sectionals at Methven off the front. Like, it's not a track like Moch Carrara where they run a half and 62. They can run 57 easily around Methven. It's a really, really quick track. So good horses go there, and we see a few tomorrow.
Yeah, a whole bunch of horses turned up there last Saturday for the workouts too. Now, this is an important question, Craig, because many of our viewers probably don't bet on harnesses professionally as you do, obviously. So when you're tackling grass track racing, is it separate form from the all-weather tracks? I mean, obviously Lazarus is still a champion on either track. Or do you put more emphasis on what happened at Addington last start or what's happened on the grass in the past? What's your grass track punting philosophy?
A couple of things. I think grass track horses predominantly, there's some horses that predominantly just love grass track racing, and they're set for grass track series. You see it in the north, when they race through the summer. You see it in the South Island there too, where horses, they may have won 5 or 6 races out of 40 odd starts, and all of those 5 or 6 have been on the grass. The other 30 have been on the all weather, where they just haven't handled it. Yeah. I also do believe, Michael, a lot about it is their gait, especially for the paces. Some horses, they like the grass. There's a bit more give. And if they're a little bit rough in their gait, they tend to be able to perform a little bit better on the grass because they tend to be able to get through it a little bit better, Michael. So to answer your questions, I think if you're going good on the grass in the past, you might be more likely to go good on the grass in the future.
Here's a theory for you, and I definitely agree with this on wet grass tracks, but I'm not sure about the drier grass tracks. Do the lighter drivers help on the grass tracks?
I believe in the past it used to be. I believe in the past when you had the heavy sulkies and the grass tracks were a little bit longer and they were more of a bit of a plod through, Michael. I mean, I went to Stratford and a few of those HARA meetings 10 and 15 years ago, and they'd run home closer to 70 than they would in 60 because it was really hard work. And if you had a light guy like Colin Butler driving in those days, it was an enormous advantage. A guy like Ricky May who's light in the car. I don't believe it's such a big advantage these days, Michael, because I think our grass tracks are so well manicured that really the tracks are so good that there's not a huge advantage.
I think Methven's the best grass track in the country. They don't race gallopers on it, which is a big help because it doesn't get rutted up. Last week on the show, we both took Better Fly. Better Fly's won on the grass before, and she had absolutely no luck at Addington. She still wanted to be there at the 200-metre mark. She's in race 7 today. I'm not saying she's immoral, but I just think this stacks up beautifully for her. Whereas last week, even though I was tipping her, I probably had some little concerns with Barry.
Well, I thought she'd be great. I totally concur with what you're saying because she had a tough run and she was still in front at the top of the lane when she probably had no right to be there. So she's won on the grass. She's won at Methven. That's a huge advantage. And she's probably a little better drawn this week than she was last week. So it's not a bad field, Michael. I thought I Am Adeline was very good winning the other day and went to the Methven workouts. What I would suggest to the punters, I know it's a bit of a tedious task, but if you can get on HRNZ, it's the first time that HRNZ have produced the Methven workouts for the punters to have viewing options for. Now, I watched all 16 heats last night till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I saw that much grass track racing, I couldn't sleep last night. But I tell you what, it did open my eyes up to a few winners, and probably when you go to sleep, you should be counting sheep. I was counting horses going around at Methven, but it was certainly some winners coming out of there, and I'll highlight one to you very shortly.
How are you still married? How are you still married after that?
A lot of people have asked me that question too, but we'll go into that at another time.
Me too, brother. This is a good split for us on Big Fish, Little Fish today. You like one early doors. I really like one later. You go first.
Race 2, Michael. A horse that went to that Methven workouts last Saturday, a horse called Mark Dunnett. Now, not many people would have heard of this horse, but he actually came north to race in a young guns heat, which all about Faith and Krug. Now, he was trained by Bruce Negus. He was sent north to Tony Hurley. So he was in Tony Hurley's colours in that heat. He actually went pretty good. He ended up finishing 7th, but he wasn't that far off them. There was a few horses that finished behind him that's gone on to win races. He'd actually won a couple of trials before he came north. Now, he's gone back south again. Obviously, he was up here for the young guns. He didn't obviously mature enough for that. But he trialled on Saturday, and he really trialled nicely. Blair Orange picks up the drive. I thought he was a great bet race too. He's a 3-year-old boy he's watching called Mark Dunnett, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't go a good race today.
I must admit, I don't tip a lot on the grass, Craig, but I really like one today. Race 10, Gill Favour. If it doesn't win, it'll be placing, and it'll probably win. It took in a really nice field at Addington last time, got a little bit too far back. They trotted home super quick, drops a mile of grade. These are totally different grade of horses. Paul Nairn's horses all handle the grass. I literally think this is what you do today, punters. Take some money you can afford to lose. Don't ever bet where you can't afford to lose. Take it to the TAB or put it in your account. Put the money on, watch the race. The race will take about 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Then wait 10 minutes and get your money back. That's the Gill Favour story, Craig. I think it's a stinking each way moral for each way, and you can probably go straight out on it. Now, any argument there before we leave Big Fish, Little Fish or not?
No argument at all. He's only ever had 2 starts at Methven. He's won them both. So it's a track he likes. He likes the grass. I thought the run at Addington was very good. 21 horse field. It's not going to be easy to manoeuvre his way around that field. But yeah, Michael, to answer your question, I think he's the horse to beat.
Thanks for your help all this week, brother. It's been an exciting week for harness racing. Next week, for the first time in a long time, we go Group 1 racing at Alexandra Park. Stick around on hrnz.co.nz to get all that information over the next week, and of course, for more Big Fish and Little Fish.